So it looks like these two are both kind of unproven fighters. Stewart Nicoll's managed to get a few decent KOs for his last 4 matches, all in kind of round 1 and round 2. Against decent names, people that have been known for their KO power in round 1 and round 2. Say for example, Erceg Kitano was getting KOs in round 1 or round 2 for his last few fights, last 4 to 5 fights. And then if we look at Jesus Aguilar, so Mateusz Mendonca is decent, it's not that great. Shannon Ross is just, he's just got 0 jaw, he just gets fucking finished by everyone. Harrison Ferreira is really not that good either. I mean, if we look at his record here, loss. Julio Matos, Alibi Idris, Davey Bittencourt, it's all getting finished. So yeah, he's just really not that great either. So I honestly think Jesus Aguilar is really not that good. He hasn't really been up against any decent competition in the UFC yet. I think he's just getting fed fighters so that he can get built up, or he's just got a good coach on his side that's able to negotiate some pretty good fights for him. You know, he goes against Tatsuro Taira, gets submitted in round 1. That's probably the only person he's fought against that's good, and that's the result. So I'm taking Stewart Nicoll by decision. Yes, they both have the ability to finish, but this is UFC, this is flyweight. I'm going with the decision for Stewart Nicoll. Now we got our next fight in welterweight. So we've got Song Kenan and Ricky Glenn. My first lean is Song Kenan by KO. I don't really know much about Ricky Glenn, so let me have a quick look at who this guy has fought. So Ricky Glenn, Song Kenan. Ricky Glenn got KO'd by Drew Dober, round 1, fair enough. Drew Dober's got some good knockout power. He can brawl, he can get in there. Christos Giagos. Let's have a look. Lost to Daniel Zellaba, who was an up-and-coming prospect in the UFC. Ignacio Bahamendez. Oh. Lost to Thiago Moises, who's he's a pretty old fighter. He should be going out. Armin Sarukian, fair enough. He's good. And lost to Dricus. He's beaten Wahim Silva. Lost to Kevin Aguilar. Was going to fight against Arnold Allen, which is interesting. He probably would have gotten fucking demolished there. So he's beaten Joaquim Silva, who lost to Drakkar Close. He beat Clay Guida. Yeah, Clay Guida's he's been in the UFC for way too long. Armin Sarukian lost to him, fair enough. He's one of the top prospects in the world in this division. What division is this again? Should be welterweight. Lightweight, okay. Beat Jared Gordon. Lost to Ricky Glenn, Nasrat Haskaparat, and Vince Pitchell. This guy is not that great. He's not that great. Lost to Kevin Aguilar, who we already know really isn't that great. He's not that good. Let's have a quick look here. Lost to Tucker Lutz, Charles Rosa. Lost to Charles Rosa. Yeah, this guy's really not great. Zubara, Tuhugov, Danny Gay. Hasn't really beaten anyone of note at all. Had one win in the UFC and just been getting pummeled since then. This Tucker Lutz guy doesn't look like he's really that great either. Yeah, he's not. He's on the 3 losses. Pat Sabatini, Daniel Pineda, and Melzik Bagdasari. Not that great. So, this has got Song Kenan all over it. Round 1, round 2, finish. Alright, let's put a round 2, just in case he makes it through. I mean, Song Kenan here can be a little bit, a little bit gun shy. Not really gun shy, he's kind of just waiting for his opportunities, but he is not exactly a high level volume striker that's going to bring it to you. I feel like he's more of a counter fighter. So I got Song Kenan, round 2, KO. Now let's look at this second fight. No idea who these two guys are. Tom Nolan, Alex Reyes. Tapology has Tom Nolan 83% by KO, 97% for him to win. I had a look at Sportsbet before as well, and the odds are not favorable. They are massively leaning towards Nolan. I think it's like, minus 1100. This is the Alex Reyes is the biggest underdog on the card. So let's have a look. Who has Tom Nolan fought before? He's been in the UFC for about a year now. Came in on Contender Series. Fought against Bogdan Gran. He's got a pretty decent... Yeah, he's got a pretty decent record, but he's in Cage Fighter. Looks like he's a finisher here. Round 1, round 2. Flying knees, guillotine chokes. Came into Contender, lost to Tom Nolan, and then he's back to Cage FC. FS. So... he's decent. I'd say he's decent on paper. Nicholas Mota. 1 minute into round 1. So that's a little bit concerning there. Lost to Jim Miller. Lost to Manuel Torres. Cameron Van Camp. Beat him. Yeah. Alex Reyes. Lost to Mike Perry back in 2017. This guy has not been fighting for a long time. It has been... before his last fight, he was out for about 5 years after losing to Mike Perry. Charlie Campbell, yeah. Lost round 1. Yeah. This guy is just getting fed to him. Alright. For this decision, going with Tom Nolan, that much of a fucking favorite. Gonna put him on KO. We're gonna do it in round 1. Jack Jenkins and Herbert Burns. This is another pretty big favorite. Minus 550. Looking straight at this, I mean, it's valid. Herbert Burns is just, he's never been able to really pick up any momentum in the UFC at all. He's just pretty average. Pretty below average, I'd say. Lost to Julio Arce, Bill Algier, Daniel Pineda. I mean, a win against Nate Landwehr is pretty decent. That's pretty decent. But apart from that, all the other fights here, it's just, yeah, he's really not going up against anyone noticeable. Anyone that's pretty decent, he's just lost against. I'll have a quick look at Jenkins. Lost to Chepe Mariscal. Strong grappling game. Beat Jamal Emmers. Beat Don Shanis. Freddie Linares. Listen, I'm thinking like, yeah, he hasn't really beaten anyone noticeable. He lost to Chepe Mariscal, who just fought recently and won as well. Beat Damon Jackson. Just kind of pinned him up against the fence this weekend. Okay. So, I mean, listen, Herbert Burns could potentially do it if he can get a clinch. I don't know what he's been doing with his training. I really don't know, anything about his training right now. So, I'm thinking Herbert Burns has a bit of a chance here. I mean, we've got some pretty big underdogs on this card. I don't think Alex Reyes is going to be the one to bust the underdog curse. You know what? I reckon Herbert Burns could potentially take this one. A late submission in round 3. A very, very late submission. Perhaps Jack is going to gas out quite a lot. In all honesty, he hasn't really fought anyone that's that great. Let's do a double take on this, right? Jamal Emmers, Don Shanis, Freddie Linares. Jamal Emmers is okay. He's been in the UFC for quite a while, for about 4 or so years. Got brought in, lost to Giga Chikadze, fair enough. Vince Cachero won by decision. Lost to Pat Sabatini in round 1. Beat Hussein Askabov by decision. Has lost to Jack Jenkins. Lost to Nate Landwehr. He's okay, nothing great. Don Shanis, same thing. He's just been losing for the last 4 or 5. Not really any noticeable wins. He's just come into the UFC just to get kicked out within like a year, less than a year. Nothing noticeable. Freddie Linares lost for the last few as well. Nothing noticeable. Herbert Burns, it's a decent win against Nate Landwehr. Bill Algier is pretty elusive. Julio Arce is, let's think about him. Noticeable win. He's beat Julian Erosa, beat Dan Ige. Yeah, you know what? I'm feeling good about this one. I think Herbert could potentially get this one done late, round 3 submission. Now let's move over to a flyweight bout. Casey O'Neill versus Luana Santos. Okay, let's have a look at the fight history. I don't have too much knowledge on these two. Haven't watched many of their fights. Let's have a look at Casey O'Neill. So she lost to Ariana Lipsky by armbar in round 2 in the 1 minute and 18 seconds. Lost to decision. Jennifer Meyer, both decent fighters, both decent grapplers. Lost to both of those. She beat Roxanne Modafferi. Beat Antonina Shevchenko. Not to be confused with, yeah, the champion Shevchenko. Listen, she's been doing okay since she's come. A lot of round 2, round 3 finishes. Beating Roxanne Modafferi by decision is fair enough. She is very durable. Roxanne is very good at going the distance. Jennifer Maia, well known for her grappling. Ariana Lipsky, same thing. Pretty strong wrestler, decent striking. So she's been up against some pretty decent competition. It seems like she brings it. She definitely brings it. Now let's look at Luana Santos. Beat Maria Akapova, which is okay. Stephanie Edgar, Juliana Miller, Batira Rodriguez. Round 1 finishes by KOs and submission. Since being in the UFC, she's finished 2, gone to decision 1, but she is on a win streak in the UFC. So I'm leading Casey O'Neill. I reckon she's got more experience. She's been in the UFC for about three or so years now, 3.5 years. Santos has been in the UFC for about 1 year or so. So I'm going to give this to the veteran. I mean, yeah. Actually. Yeah, I'm going to give this one to the veteran. And yeah, I'm just going to go to the standard. I reckon it's going to go to the distance. It's going to go the distance. Giving it to the underdog, Casey O'Neill. Now we'll move on to Josh Culibao and Ricardo Ramos. So I've watched a decent amount of Josh Culibao's fights. I lost my last bet with him against Danny Silva. I mean, I lost to Lerone Murphy, fair enough. Lerone Murphy is an excellent striker. Now, if we look at his record, listen, yeah, Josh Culibao is he's decent all around. He's been in the UFC for about 4 years now. He's comfortable where he should be. Let's have a quick look at Danny Silva. Lost to Danny Silva recently, who has a decent record. Looks like Culibao was his first fight in the UFC. Went to decision on the Contender Series. Listen, Culibao's above average. He's nothing special. He's above average. He can wrestle. He strikes alright. He's got a decent chin. Well, let's have a look at Ricardo Ramos. Fighting out of Team Alpha Male. It's just a standard that he's just going to be good all round. Wrestling is definitely going to be decent from Team Alpha Male experience. Lost to Julian Erosa, Charles Jourdain, both by guillotine choke in round 1. Beat Danny Chavez by KO in round 1. Beat Bill Algeo, who's a decent striker. Lost to Lerone Murphy as well, who's a decent striker. Lost to Said Nurmagomedov, fair enough. Beat Kyung Oh Kung, that's a decent win there. So this guy is a bona fide veteran. He's been in the UFC for about 7 or so years now. Decent kind of winning streak in the beginning. A loss to Said Nurmagomedov, fair enough. Lerone Murphy, fair enough. Excellent striker. Said is also an excellent striker and an excellent wrestler, as we've seen in the recent UFC event that he fought in, beating Corey Sandhagen, who is also very well known for his striking. He beat him on the ground as well. So, if look at his more recent record. Listen, Julian Erosa and Charles Jourdain. Charles Jourdain, yeah, these are not, your cream of the crop. They're not your top 5. Could be like top 15. They're decent, above average, but they're really... Charles Jourdain has some good highlight reels. Julian Erosa is very durable. He's okay all around. This is like, if you got to pick, it's like, this is a 50-50 coin toss to me. So I'm just going to be going with, whoever the underdog is. And in this case, it's on Aussie soil as well. I really want to go for Josh Culibao. I really want to give him another chance. He's decent. So Josh Culibao by decision. I reckon that's doable. I don't see him finishing Ricardo Ramos. But this could go either way, to be very honest. Like I said, it's 50-50. I'm going with Josh Culibao. Got that Aussie pride. That's the main reason behind it. I've bet on Josh Culibao a few times, even though we lost the last one. I still got hope in this guy. He's a good all-arounder. Ricardo Ramos has been around for quite a while now and seems like he's on his way out. This would be a good win. I hope Culibao wins this one. Culibao by decision. Now we're moving to a heavyweight bout with Junior Tafa and Valter Walker. I do not know who Valter Walker is. I have not seen any of his fights before. Junior Tafa, I know, he's got power. He's got knockout power for sure. And he hasn't been in the UFC for too long. Looking kind of different. Valter Walker joined the UFC, had a loss against Lucas Bresky. Yeah, he lost to this guy who's just been losing to everyone. Carl Williams, Martin Boudet, Waldo Carl Cortez Acosta, Mick Parkin. This guy is losing to everyone. Did decent before getting into UFC. He's just been getting smashed ever since. And that is who Valter Walker lost to in his debut to UFC. So what this looks like is another one. They're doing good in the fighting competitions outside of UFC, but once they get into UFC, the caliber is just too high. Junior Tafa has been around for about a year or so in the UFC now. Fighting in Ryzen before over in Japan. Yeah, alright. Listen, a win against Parker Porter is decent. A loss against Muhammad Usman does not look good on you. Muhammad Usman is he's beefy, it looks pretty strong, but he's really not that great. Marcos Rogero de Lima is decent. He's long as fuck. He's got a lot of reach. This is a quick one. I'm going to go with Tafa. On this one. I'm going to go by KO round 2. Not super confident about this one, but I reckon this is the play. Now moving on to a welterweight fight, we have the Leech, JingLiang versus Carlos Prates, the Nightmare. JingLiang is definitely above average. He's got that KO power. Beat Hunter, what's his name? Santiago Ponzinibbio, that's right. Lost to Chimaev, Khamzat Chimaev, fair enough. Listen, a win against Muslim Salikov, a KO win as well, that is very decent. Loss against Daniel Rodriguez is yeah, I mean, Daniel Rodriguez is a pretty decent striker. Very, very decent striker. Good boxing. Oh. And they are feeding the leech to Carlos Prates. I've not seen any of his fights. If we have a look at his last 3 fights here, all wins by KO. Before joining the UFC, same thing, all wins by KO. Listen, JingLiang is good. He's been in the UFC for a long time now, though, and he is a KO fighter. So for this one, I mean, if you want to do a safe bet, doesn't go the distance, that should be, yeah, there's no way this is going the distance. No way. JingLiang could catch him, but I honestly reckon he could be kind of reaching the end of his career. He's been in the UFC since 2017, 2016, if we count the Ultimate Fighter. Actually, let's have a look here. Fuck, he's been around for a long time. He's been around for almost 10 years now. He's almost a 10-year veteran in the UFC. Been around for a very long time. Noticeable wins: Diego Lima. Lost to Jake Matthews. Beat David Zawada. Lost to Neil Magny. Look at this recent win against Muslim Salikov is decent, but the thing is he has been away from the octagon for over a year and a bit now. Big fan of the leech, always. Let's have a little bit more of a look into Carlos Prates. Very good record. A lot of KOs. Round 1, round 2. Finisher. He bangs. He's got power. He's got to have power to be able to finish that many people. Beat Mitch Reyes, who lost to Thiago Moises. No noticeable wins, so can't really count that too well. Trevor Giles lost to Gabriel Bonfim. Lost to Mike Malott in grappling, fair enough. Mike Malott's a beast. Lost to Preston Parsons, decent long striker. I mean, beat him. Beat Luis Cosque. Lost to Michael Morales, fair enough. Mike Morales is also a very good striker. Lost to Dricus to Plessis, also very good. He beat Roman Dolidze, which is decent. Roman Dolidze he bangs. Beat James Krause, who is quite skilled as well, despite his little issue with betting and pretty much rigging his bets. He is, I don't know how long he's banned for, but he's fucked. Lost to Gerard Meerschaert, lost to Zach Cummings. I mean, come on, this guy just loses all the time. He's got some okay wins in here. Charles Ratke. TKO Gilbert being in round 1. That's pretty decent. Mike Mathitha. Blood Diamond. He's really not that great. He's just part of Israel's fight camp, City Kickboxing. That's pretty much the only thing that he's got. Other than that, he's pretty crap. Listen, Carlos Prates, he's got a lot of KOs, but he hasn't been up. Like, this is going to probably be the most difficult fight. So, I mean, if you want to bet safe, doesn't go the distance, I don't think you're going to get much value on that. I think the bookies are probably ahead of it on this one. Listen, JingLiang's got a good way of, getting it done. I need to have a look at... Carlos Prates has a lot of reach from Brazil, from the favelas. I'm going to give it to Prates by KO. I would say it's going to be in round 2 or round 3. He's going to have to kind of wait for JingLiang to lose that initial power from full stamina, and then yeah, finish in round 2 or round 3. Alright, 4 more fights. Onto the big main card event. Tuivasa versus Jairzinho Rozenstruik. I'm going with Tuivasa. I've had a chat with some people that are part of some betting group. They reckon Tuivasa's kind of just completely out now. He's just working on his businesses and stuff. But I still reckon he's got it. I mean, he's still sparring. He's sparring against fucking Alex Pereira. I mean, it looks like he was getting fucked up. But Tuivasa's always got power. He can always bang. Rozenstruik, a win against Shamil Gaziev is actually pretty decent. Chris Darkus as well. But Rozenstruik has been known to be a slow starter. Not too much stamina, like not too much volume. He can be gun shy. He can definitely be gun shy against someone that has power like Tuivasa. Tuivasa, apart from his most recent loss to Marcin Tybura, has been going up against like top 5 contenders in heavyweight. Alexander Volkov, super long, just beat Sergey Pavlovich as well. Lost to Sergey Pavlovich, which is also, you know, he's just been fucking people up. Cyril Gain is definitely, he's in top 3. He's pretty much cleared out the heavyweight division apart from John Jones. And yeah, I just don't have that much faith in Rozenstruik. He starts slow. He can get hit. He can definitely get hit. I reckon 2 of us can get this done in round 2, if not round 1. This one's also not going the distance. Alright. Mateusz Gamrot versus Dan Hooker. Dan Hooker. Really enjoy Dan Hooker as a fighter in general. I mean, his fight against Dustin Poirier is one of my favorite fights. If you haven't watched it, go and watch it. Absolute banger. Let's have a look at the record. So he's had a recent win against Yalen Turner, which is, yeah, the Tarantula. Good at submissions, good fighter, won by split decision. Claudio Pelez, beat him by a body kick. Lost to Arnold Allen, fair enough. He's like top contender in the division. Lost to Islam Makhachev, he's the current champion. Lost to Nasrat Hasparat, which is really well known for his striking as well. And then we got Mateusz Gamrot. Beat Santos, which is an all-around good veteran. KO'd Rafael Fiziev, good striker, Muay Thai base. And also beat Yalen Turner, who is, yes, a good submission artist, good wrestling. His loss here is to Beneil Dariush. I think this loss might have been in Beneil's prime. I feel like Beneil's kind of dropped off. And he also beat Armin Tsarukyan in a decision, which was a controversial decision. A lot of people thought Armin Tsarukyan actually won this one. I'm a fan of Hooker. My heart would want to bet with Hooker. But Gamrot is just like, he's in his prime right now. He's 30, like they're around the same age. Similar attributes. I mean, Hooker's got like a decent amount of distance on him. But Hooker just looks so slow. I mean, I think I might have to watch tape on him versus Yalen Turner, see what that looks like. I just feel like Hooker's like a bit washed. Let's just have a look now.
Don't invest in
you can skip through this.
You've done this report. You need a clear understanding of your... Look, some big cat good. Hours up there. 40 seconds, you good?
Alright. Moving around well. On his toes. Just gonna skip through what happens here. Finally throws a kick, gets him in the nuts. Listen, he's slow. How's he taking the takedown? How's his takedown defense? That's what I mean. I need to work on speaking a little bit better. This is the first recording that I'm doing. Alright. Looks like he's getting caught here. And Hooker eats. He eats shots. He just eats shots. I was betting against Hooker on this one, I remember now. Round 1 to Turner. Close right now. By Jalen. Off attack. They said that belly let's go to the big moments. Oof, beats a head kick. Just clinches up immediately. Oh, he's just so slow, man. I honestly think he's just taken so much damage in that fight against fucking Dustin Poirier, and he's just lost so many brain cells. I mean, he can always bring it back and just see what happens. See, look at him. He's coming in and he's just getting caught. Getting caught. He thrives in the chaos. He thrives in the chaos. He's been famous. I reckon, yeah. I'm sorry, Dan, but I'm going with Mateusz Gamrot on this one. And I think he's going to get the submission. It's not going to be early, it's going to be late. I reckon it's going to be a round 3 submission. Could definitely go the distance. Dan Hooker is very, very durable fighter. But he's on his way out. I mean, if Gamrot really wants to kind of make a stamp on the division, he needs to go for a finish. And Dan Hooker is definitely someone that can get finished. So, we're going Gamrot, submission, round 3. Kara France versus Steve Erceg. This is an amazing fight. This could easily be a main event fight. Easily. Kara France is definitely a veteran now in the flyweight division. He has fought literally everybody. Recent losses against Amir Albazi and Brandon Moreno, who are top contenders. I mean, Brandon Moreno, I believe he was the champion at this point in time. Amir Albazi is I'm pretty sure Albazi is on the juice. He is fucking very ripped. And then we've got Erceg, recently just lost against Alexandra Pantoja in a very controversial decision. A lot of people had him winning. But the fight was over in Brazil, and I dare say when fights are over in Brazil, make sure that you understand that there's going to be a little bit of bias, just like the same thing in all other sports like soccer, rugby, gridiron, American football. You're going to have like a home team advantage, so to speak. And I got to say, when you're in Brazil, yeah, you got a home team advantage for sure there with the judging. Noticeable wins, KO'd Matt Schnell, Decision win against Alessandro Costa. Decision win against David Dvorak. Let's have a quick look into the record here for Steve Erceg. Who has he beat that is noticeable? He's finishing round 1 for the UFC in Eternal MMA, which is it's the main kind of fighting competition in Australia. He is finishing people. KO, submission, all round 1. David Dvorak. He's been losing. He's been on a losing streak. Noticeable win against Jordan Espinoza, who's a veteran. Bruno Silva, I guess he's been in the division for a little while as well. Don't know too much about him. He's a finisher. He's not bad. He's not bad at all. Matt Schnell, that's definitely a name that a lot of people know. He's been doing pretty decent in the UFC. Recent losses against... Yeah, he's been fighting at the top. Beat Sumidaji, very well-known striker. Good at striking, finish him by triangle choke in round 2 towards the end of the round, last minute of round 2. Lost to Mateusz Nicoll. Yeah, he's like top 5, top 10 in the division. Brandon Royval is top 5. Beat Tyson Nam, who's known for like good striking, good power. Lost to Alexandra Pantoja. Yeah. He's not... Erceg is not getting easy fights. He is not getting easy fights. And I guess that's the main reason why he was given the title fight so early against Pantoja. And he did pretty fucking good. The only doubt that I have is he's just getting to the top now in this year. He's just kind of experiencing all of that UFC fame, UFC clout. We're in Perth and everything. Look, I dare say I don't think he's the type to get that affected by getting famous and all the clout. But that's a bit of a question mark. On the other hand, we've got Kai Kara-France, who has been around the block in the flyweight division. Already covered the most recent losses, beat Askar Askarov, who was a very well-known wrestler. Beat Cody Garbrandt by KO when he tried to, Garbrandt tried to go down to flyweight. Just got, demolished by Kai Kara. Lost to Brandon Royval. Guillotine choke. Beat Tyson Nam. He's lost to Moreno twice. Beat Mike De La Rosa. He's a decent grappler. Yeah. Kai Kara-France, he's good. He is a good fighter. He is a good all-rounder. He has fought the best in the division. Mainly the best in the division. I mean, I imagine whoever wins out of this is going to be getting that Pantoja fight. I'm going to stay on the Steve Erceg train, though. Like, Kai Kara-France is 31 years old. Steve Erceg is 29. He's 5'4". Steve Erceg is 5'8". He's got a decent height advantage on him. I mean, reach is around the same. City kickboxing is it's not at the top anymore. There was a period where, like, for a year or a couple of years, like, all their fighters were just banging, apart from Black Diamond. I don't think... Yeah, I reckon the Erceg train is going to keep going. It's going to continue. He's going to get another chance at a title shot. He deserves another chance at a title shot. Being in flyweight, being in Perth, knowing how tough Kai Kara-France is, I'm giving the fight to Erceg by decision. And now the main event. We got DDP versus Israel Adesanya. I mean, yeah. I don't think I need to look up the records for this one. I know both these fighters pretty well. Duplessis Listen, I was having a conversation with someone a couple of weeks ago, and they asked me, who do you think's going to win? I was leaning towards Dricus du Plessis just because he fucked up Robert Whittaker, who is a very well-known striker in the division. If it wasn't for Adesanya, Whittaker would be champion of the division. I mean, I guess, and Alex Pereira as well. But yeah, Robert Whittaker is a top contender in the middleweight. He is always going to be at the top, and like he's not like a gatekeeper for top 15. He's like a gatekeeper for like champions. And du Plessis destroyed him. He finished him early in like round 1 or round 2. Let's open this up anyways, just so we can have a look. Everyone likes looking at stats and numbers, so let's have a look. Round 2. That's pretty early on. Du Plessis has gone through the division. He has versed the best. He is strong. He is not afraid of taking hits. He's adaptable. He's got a good camp with him that's able to break down weaknesses in his opponents. Recent wins, Sean Strickland took the championship belt from Strickland. Whittaker, mentioned before, Derek Brunson, very strong wrestler, finished him the end of round 2. Darren Till, known for being a decent striker. I mean, he doesn't have a great chin, but Darren Till is definitely, he's a good striker. Brad Tavares, veteran in the division, been around for quite a while. And Trevin Giles, once again, also been around in the division for quite a while. Du Plessis has been in the UFC for about just under 4 years now, and he is winning. And he is finishing people in the division. He's, through KOs, he's got 1 submission win, 1 rear naked choke against Darren Till. I mean, Darren, could have finished him anyway. Anyways, we've got someone that's strong, someone that knows how to strike. He can fight orthodox and southpaw. He wrestles quite well. The question is, can he beat one of the 3 African kings? Israel Adesanya is bona fide, like one of the best to do it in middleweight. If dare say he is the Anderson Silva of the next generation. He has taken the torch from Anderson Silva when he beat him back in 2019. He was doing well after that already. Marvin Vettori, Brad Tavares, Derek Brunson, messing these guys up. He's finishing people, finished Whittaker. I mean, the second fight with Whittaker was a little bit, Whittaker could have won that one. That was a bit of a controversial one. Anyways, he beat Romero in a fucking weird ass fight, beat him anyways. Acosta was tearing through the division, KOing, finishing a bunch of people. He finished him as well, tried to move up to light heavyweight, lost to Jan Blachowicz. Jan Blachowicz just, implemented a wrestling game, and I think, he's just, the weight didn't transfer when he went up. Beat Marvin Vettori again, beat Whittaker again, beat Jared Cannonier, who used to be a heavyweight that moved down to middleweight, who was pretty decent as well, well known for his striking, power in his hands. Lost to Pereira after he was pretty much beating Pereira for the entire fight, and then he got KO'd in round 5. And then he came back to finish him in round 2. Now, his most recent loss against Strickland. Strickland is a decent boxer. He's quite one-dimensional though. Strickland's got good distance control, good boxing. He's got, when it comes to kicks, he's really just got his teeps. He did show some kicks here and there in his recent fight, but that's just he did it in the last 30 seconds. It just shows that he's not confident in throwing roundhouses or any kicks other than teeps. He's comfortable with teeps and just his Philly shell boxing. I heard that Izzy was partying the weekend before, fight with Strickland. And yeah, the thing is, I mean, Izzy's his star. He's a UFC star. Like, I mean, if there's anyone that's like big right now or close to UFC, Izzy was massive. He's got that star power. What has he been doing for the last year or so since losing to Strickland? If you look at like the UFC videos and the content and everything, I mean, he's taken a little bit of a break from the UFC, which is fair enough. I mean, he's been fighting, he's been in kickboxing, which is like very intensive. Like, you're taking a lot of damage in kickboxing. He's been doing kickboxing. He was doing kickboxing for a very fucking long time. He's been fighting for over 10 years now, and he took a break after losing to Strickland. Probably spending some of that money that he's made, enjoying life, you know, partying a little bit, traveling the world, and now he's back. And now he's here to fight DDP, who wants to be the first African champion that breathes African air, grew up in Africa, and he wants to be the first real African champion of the middleweight. I mean, Ngannou came from Africa. Usman, obviously from the US. His family was from, I believe, Nigeria as well, though. So yeah, anyways, I don't really care too much about that stuff. Like, I'm an Aussie Asian, so yeah. Thing is that, I mean, Adesanya doesn't always sound super confident. He doesn't get overconfident. And what that tells me is he's grounded, right? Been training, apparently he looks very big. Going back to what I was saying about him being grounded, I mean, the less delusional you are in the way that you think, I believe that translates to fighting. It translates to the way in how you train. You don't get cocky, you don't get overconfident. Got a good coach there to kind of help him with that as well. So I honestly reckon Adesanya, if he's been putting proper training into it, I need to see a little bit more like videos and watch a little bit more content to see what's been going on, if Adesanya's actually been training quite well. One little doubt, or one little piece of doubt that I have is when he was talking about the fight, and he mentioned that like, I need that fire, right? He keeps saying, I need that fire, you know, DDP lit that fire in me and all that, which, what that tells me is that he's kind of losing that fire. And I mean, it's obvious, like, if he's drinking before his fight with Strickland, he's just taking a break to kind of spend his money and everything, like, he is at the last stage of his career. That's what I'm thinking. On the other hand, like, as a UFC fan, the narrative that I'd really like to see is fucking finish Plessis, get the championship belt back here, and you need to get some more dubs against Alex Pereira. I think that's what everyone wants to see. I mean, even if you're looking big for middleweight, get your middleweight belt back, move up to light heavyweight, and take out Pereira. I reckon that's what I want to see as a UFC fan. I'd love to fucking see it. I'd love to see them fight again. I'd love to see Adesanya, like, they're on the exact same fucking road. Came from kickboxing, went into middleweight, destroyed everyone, trying to pretty much get championships all the way across UFC up to heavyweight. Adesanya was calling out John Jones for like a couple of years or something. So, I mean, Israel Adesanya beats DDP, moves up to light heavyweight, beats Pereira, and then the UFC is fucking alive again. You know what I mean? So, my gut is telling me that DDP is going to win. He's more focused right now. I think it would be a decision. I don't see him knocking out Adesanya. If he decides to strike with him, that's no bueno. You're gonna get, you don't strike against Izzy. He's just one of the best in the division. And just because you beat Sean Strickland, in a controversial fight. This is Izzy we're talking about. He is a top striker in the world. He is like one of the best strikers in the world right now. So, listen, if I'm gonna make this Tapology pick now, going Du Plessis by decision, but this could easily be swayed. I'm a big fan of Adesanya, and I need to see if that fire is actually lit again, because peak Adesanya is unstoppable. He knocked out Pereira, who people haven't been able to finish, even in the light heavyweight division. Like, he knocked him out cold. So listen, I'm gonna go Du Plessis by decision first. This is me trying to use my brain and logic as much as possible, as much as my heart wants to bet on Izzy. And if I would be betting KO or decision. It's not going to be a submission. That's just not what Izzy does. He's not easy to get submitted either, so this fight is either going to end up in KO or it's going to go decision. So Du Plessis by decision. That's the main pick right now. And that's it for UFC 305. Why you might want to kind of listen to what I say. I don't really have like that many accolades, but I'll tell you what, main events this year I have been winning. The only one I lost recently was with Edwards versus what's his name? Bilal. Yeah, Edwards versus Bilal, which I think that broke a lot of bets for a lot of people. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it's because they were fighting at 2 a.m. or what's going on with Edwards, or if Bilal is just fucking taking some special juice that's just, got him ripped and dumping Edwards on his head. Apart from that one, I've been winning main events this year, and I actually got a 12 out of 12 pick on Tapology not too long ago. So Makhachev versus Poirier, 12 out of 12. That's 100% hit ratio. On Tapology, about 58%. This has just been climbing and climbing the last year or so. The last few weren't that, anyways. You can see here, look, it's decent. 9 out of 12, 12 out of 12, 8 out of 11, 8 out of 12, 9 of 14. And if you're looking at main events, that's where I'm getting the picks right. That's where I'm getting some solid picks. So, I'm signing out. Feel free to follow me on Tapology. I post this video up on Twitter, on YouTube. I'm not too sure where I'm going to post it, to be honest. I just wanted to create a video to just see how it goes. So, that's it.